Have you ever wondered how much house you can actually afford based on your salary? It is a question that millions of people grapple with every single day, often with high stakes and significant consequences that can echo for decades, affecting not just their finances, but also their relationships, stress levels, and overall happiness. Do you sometimes feel like buying a home today is becoming harder than ever before? Like the goalposts keep moving just as you get close? Like the dream of home ownership that previous generations took for granted is slipping further away with each passing year, each new statistic about rising prices? And are you making financial decisions based on what the bank approves, which may not have your best interests at heart, or based on what is truly comfortable for your long-term financial health and peace of mind? These are important questions because housing is often the biggest financial decision most people will ever make, dwarfing every other expense in their lives by a significant margin. It is not just a place to live. It is a commitment that can shape your financial future for decades, determining how much you can save, where you can work, what kind of lifestyle you can afford, and even when you can retire. And understanding how your income connects to the price of a home can make a huge difference in whether that decision builds wealth, creating equity and stability and options and freedom, or creates financial stress, leading to sleepless nights and strained relationships and regrets that last for years and years. My name is Michael, and welcome back to Investor Voice. On this channel, we talk about personal finance, investing, and the strategies that help people build real financial security over time. We do not deal in hype or quick fixes that promise overnight success with no effort. We deal in reality, in the things that actually work for ordinary people who are willing to learn and apply the principles over the long haul, through bull markets and bear markets, through good times and bad. Today we are going to discuss several powerful financial ideas from respected voices in the personal finance community. These ideas touch on home affordability, protecting yourself from financial scams, building wealth through consistent investing, managing money through effective budgeting, and making smarter retirement decisions. The goal is to take these lessons, break them down into their essential components, and understand what they really mean for your financial journey, your life, your future, and the people you love and want to protect. Let us start with home affordability, one of today's most challenging financial issues. This affects people across the country, no matter where they live or what they do. Housing costs have jumped dramatically in recent years, outpacing wage growth in many places. Many families, despite working hard and following the rules, find the gap feels impossible to bridge. A financial creator recently shared a table showing the salaries you might need to afford homes at different price points. This analysis helps because it turns abstract numbers into a concrete reality. For instance, if someone wants to buy a home priced around $400,000, close to the national median, the estimated monthly mortgage payment could be about $2,600, including property taxes and insurance. This is a big monthly obligation, more than many people pay in rent, or sometimes their whole monthly take-home pay. Using a common guideline that housing expenses should not exceed about 28% of your gross monthly income, that suggests a household salary of around $112,000 is needed to afford that home comfortably, without being stretched too thin or living paycheck to paycheck. When you compare those numbers to national income statistics, the situation becomes clearer and more concerning for the average American family. The median home price in the United States has recently been around $410,000, while the median household income is roughly $84,000. Do the math. That means the typical household income in America can no longer comfortably afford the typical home price in many parts of the country. There is a significant gap that is unlikely to close anytime soon without major changes in income or housing prices. In certain cities, the challenge becomes even more extreme, almost surreal. For example, in places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, or Boston, the median home price can exceed $1.3 million, which requires an extremely high income to afford responsibly, often well over $300,000 a year. This is why so many people feel like home ownership is slipping away from them, like the American dream is no longer attainable, like they are working harder than ever just to stand still. Now here is where an important financial principle comes in, something that separates the financially savvy from those who struggle and never seem to get ahead. What you can afford is not necessarily the same as what a bank will approve. Banks are in the business of lending money, and they often have different criteria than what is actually good for your financial health. They want to make loans, and they have formulas that may not account for your personal goals, risk tolerance, or desire for financial peace. Banks often allow borrowers to stretch their finances further than what is actually comfortable, approving loans that may leave you house rich but cash poor, unable to save for retirement, handle emergencies, or take advantage of opportunities. Financial planners often recommend stricter rules to protect your financial stability and ensure that you have room in your budget for other goals, for the things that matter beyond just the house. One example is the 3-5-25 guideline for home buying. This idea suggests putting down around 3 to 5% on your first home, which is achievable for many first-time buyers without draining all their savings or needing to borrow from family. It suggests planning to stay in the home for at least 5 years so you can build equity and recover the transaction costs of buying and selling, which can be substantial. And it suggests keeping your total housing expenses under 25% of your gross income, which is more conservative than the bank's 28% guideline and gives you more breathing room, more margin for error. The purpose of this rule is to ensure that buying a home strengthens your financial position rather than creating long-term stress and limiting your ability to save for other goals such as retirement, education, or travel. Another financial topic that often gets overlooked, but is critically important, is protection from tax fraud and identity theft. This is not something people think about every day, but it can have devastating consequences that unfold over years. In recent years, fraudulent tax returns have become more common, more sophisticated, and more damaging to ordinary people who have done nothing wrong. Scammers attempt to claim refunds using stolen identities, filing fake returns before the real taxpayer files, hoping to get the money before anyone notices or stops them. Sometimes the IRS processes a refund before discovering the fraud, especially during busy filing seasons when it processes millions of returns and cannot thoroughly check every one. As people approach retirement, the 4% rule is a starting point, not a rigid formula. Real retirement is flexible. Spending changes year to year. Big trips some years, staying home others. Build a plan that adapts to your life. Focus on flexibility and options, not strict rules. Credit cards are neutral tools. Use them for purchases you can pay off monthly. Earn rewards, build credit. Never carry balances. Compound interest works against you, turning small purchases into long-term debt. Avoid this with a strong emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash. Car repair, medical bill, job loss. You handle it without credit cards. That safety net protects you from debt cycles. After eliminating debt, they focused on saving and investing consistently. Paid themselves first. Kept it simple. Low-cost index funds and ETAs. No hot stocks, no crypto gambling. Automated investments, so money moved without having to think. By 40, they hit coast fire. Investments are big enough to grow on their own until retirement. Freedom and peace most never experience. Success comes from habits, not one brilliant move. Good decisions are repeated daily. Automate so you don't rely on willpower. Reinvest dividends. Ignore market noise. Stay consistent, even when boring. Wealth builds slowly. Small habits over decades. Design your environment for success. Set yourself up to win without thinking. Another essential skill for managing money effectively is budgeting. Let us be honest. Budgeting may not sound exciting. It is not glamorous. It does not make for good dinner party conversation. But it is one of the most important foundations of financial success, the bedrock upon which everything else is built. Tracking your income and expenses allows you to clearly understand where your money is going each month. See the patterns, leaks, and opportunities. Without that awareness, it becomes extremely easy to spend money without realizing how quickly it disappears. You wonder where your paycheck went, why you are not making progress, and why you feel like you are working hard but getting nowhere. When every dollar has a purpose, when you assign jobs to your money before you spend it, you gain control over your finances instead of feeling like your finances control you. You become the master, not the servant. You make the decisions instead of reacting to them. You are driving the car instead of being a passenger. Interestingly, many financially successful people begin with strict budgeting and later transition into a system known as cash flow management. In this system, money is automatically directed towards savings, investments, and essential expenses first. Whatever remains becomes guilt-free spending money that you can use on anything you want without worrying, without feeling guilty, without wondering if you should be saving instead. This system works well once you have built the awareness and discipline that comes from budgeting. But even people who eventually move to automated systems often begin with budgeting because it helps build the awareness and discipline necessary for long-term financial success. You have to learn the rules before you can bend them, and you have to understand where your money goes before you can automate it effectively. It is like learning to cook before you can throw ingredients together without a recipe. As people approach retirement, the 4% rule is a starting point, not a rigid formula. Real retirement is flexible. Spending changes year to year. Big trips some years, staying home others. Build a plan that adapts to your life. Focus on flexibility and options, not strict rules. Credit cards are neutral tools. Use them for purchases you can pay off monthly. Earn rewards, build credit, never carry balances. Compound interest works against you, turning small purchases into long-term debt. Avoid this with a strong emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash. Car repair, medical bill, job loss. You handle it without credit cards. That safety net protects you from debt cycles. There are also several signs that indicate someone is doing better financially than the average person, even if they do not yet realize it. These are markers of progress, small victories that show you are on the right track, that your efforts are paying off. For example, paying down credit card debt or avoiding it entirely is a major achievement because the average American household carries more than $10,000 in credit card balances. If you are debt-free or working to become debt-free, you are ahead of the curve, ahead of most people, and you should feel good about that. Another positive sign is having a clear savings goal, whether it is building an emergency fund, saving for a vehicle, or planning for a major life event. Having a goal means you are thinking ahead, planning for the future, not just living day to day. Educating yourself about personal finance is another powerful advantage. A large percentage of people admit they do not feel confident about financial topics. They are intimidated, overwhelmed, and they avoid it entirely, which means simply learning about money, watching videos like this, reading books, and listening to podcasts can already place you ahead of the average person. Contributing to retirement accounts, such as a 401k or Roth IRA, is another important indicator of financial progress because it shows you are thinking long-term about your financial future. You are not just living for today, you are building for tomorrow, for the decades ahead. Perhaps the strongest financial position is having enough savings to cover at least 3 months of living expenses without income. Reaching that point means you have likely escaped the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle that traps many households, which keeps them stressed and vulnerable to every unexpected expense. It means you have a buffer, a cushion, a safety net that gives you options. Financial independence begins with small steps like these, and each step builds momentum toward greater financial security. At the end of the day, the most important lesson from all of these ideas is that personal finance is deeply personal. There is no single path to success that works for everyone. No one-size-fits-all formula that guarantees results. Some people reach financial independence through aggressive saving, living far below their means, driving old cars, cooking at home, and finding joy in simple things. Others focus on steady, long-term investing, letting the market do the work over decades and trusting in the power of compounding. Some prioritize home ownership as a key part of their plan, building equity and stability and a place to call their own. Others choose flexibility through renting and investing the difference, keeping their money in the market where it can grow. The key is understanding the principles that guide smart financial decisions and applying them in a way that aligns with your goals and lifestyle. It is about knowing the rules and then playing your own game, designing a life that works for you, not trying to live someone else's life. And that is exactly what we focus on here at Investor Voice. The goal is to help you understand money, make smarter financial choices, and build habits that support long-term wealth and financial freedom. Because the path to financial success is rarely about quick wins or lucky breaks. It is about consistent decisions, disciplined habits, and staying focused on the bigger picture of your financial future. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And the only way to finish is to keep moving forward, one step at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time. If you found this breakdown helpful, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. It helps more people find this content and join our community of smart, motivated individuals who are serious about their financial future. And if you know someone who is struggling with any of these topics, someone who is stressed about money or confused about what to do, share this video with them. It might just give them the perspective they need to make better decisions and improve their lives. While you are at it, smash that like button. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video on Investor Voice.